Hello everyone, and welcome to a video that no one will watch, but still is practice. For practice, see my previous videos. Practice helps always, even if no one watch. If there is the possibility that one watches, it's good to practice, to give a bit of preparation. So as usual, I'm destroyed after today is Sunday, but I did enough. For some people, and for me in the past, games were the priority. Then I learned that they are not so, that they are useful to relax. They could be a priority, but I have other interests. Other people have still games as priority. For example, people that get so high, they have to play a lot in the day or in the week, so they have quite some priority. It's okay, but for me, I try to take games a bit slower, because good games can be really helpful, but still there is a lot of other stuff to do, and therefore I'm often destroyed. Now, the hardest mode here is the tournament, and I would play tournament, or I play tournament only when I feel good, fresh, relaxed, so I can say okay, I can do it, because it's the hardest mode. Therefore I want to be already exhausted. The second hardest mode is the World War. It depends on the actual win rate. So for my estimation, it depends on the actual win rate. So if the win rate is very low, for example, one way is to play tournament is hard. A lot of people give their best and boost a lot. Here I, for example, use one time the gold boost. I use the gold boost that I already have through, I don't know, supply containers and so on. So I'm not going to buy this, because those are really expensive. This is like a tax. This one is, one can pay this slowly. One can get enough money to enough virtual money to pay this. This one is already a tax. This one is really a tax. This one is really for people that either have a lot of resources or want to push really fast. So I'm using this one that I collected over time, over 18 months, through clicking through containers. So those type of containers, and I use mostly this one once, and then I use only the blue boost, and therefore one can notice that it's really hard. Also because in the tournament one gets for the first half of the game, so in this case, this one is shorter. Normally there are 30 games. There are some tournaments that are shorter, that are either 20 or 10 or 5 games. In this case it's 23. That is I don't know how do they compute it, but normally a tournament is 14 days and 30 games. In this case it's 10 days and 23 games. Anyway, it's a bit shorter. So what I wanted to say, yes, so normally for the first half of this number of games, the opponents are more or less on the same level, so they have the same win rate. For many people the win rate doesn't mean much, because people boost and so on. The win rate is, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, a way to indicate the strength between the ability to play and the number of upgrades and the financial resources in game. If someone can spend a lot of gold boost, then of course that has an advantage. But of course, if one spends the wrong gold boost, for example, if I have to defend and I do infantry scout is not going to help me even if it's gold. So what I mean is, like, even if one has resources, has to pick the right boost, and therefore the win rate summarize the ability to have resources and the ability to use those resources good. So it's skilling game plus resources. Of course, then there are even sandbaggers. For example, normally they are always in gold league. I say yes, this one for example. This guy is obviously strong. Why? At first I was not aware of it, but getting in the top 100 or even better the top 20 in tournament is really hard. Is the higher ones get, the harder it gets. And so having so low win rate, because this win rate is artificial. For my statistics, I'm trying to collect statistics since March 2019 in my team. So through my team I collect statistics. It goes slowly because my team is not so active, but slowly people play. I noticed that it's very hard for humans to go under 44-43%, because then there are bots that are doing mostly nothing. Therefore one can win these bots after a while. The bots defend more or less, it doesn't really attack. Why those bots? Because those bots ensure that people have always an opponent, and people have always an opponent that is not so difficult, so they do not get frustrated. Therefore when someone gets low in win rate and so high in a tournament, then it's going to deliberately lose. They most likely, for example, this is Black Dragon, Black Dragon, Black Dragon, Black Dragon. Could well be the same player playing with multiple accounts, and so he gets experience through those accounts until he is really good, and he gets so high. Also, could also be, for example, this one is playing honestly, let's say in this way, so high in the tournament and has 84% win rate. That is really hard. I collected statistics also on win rate, especially in the higher one gets, one gets, the harder is to have such win rate. But in general, the most common win rate is between 45% and 55%, and already win rate over 70% are really rare, as they are really rare. Therefore having such win rate or this win rate is really difficult. Therefore being so high, despite so players with this win rate, means that one is using this account only to play tournaments for real. Every now and then one wins some normal battles to keep the win rate and the stars, because one can participate in tournaments only if the World War stars are twice the stars in the tournament, and only if the win rate is not lower than 40%. This because the devs are not dumb. They know that people play dumb or try to cheat or try to not. This is not really cheating. It's like gaming the matchmaking. What happens is that those players have, for the first half of the games, relatively easy opponents, because they pick opponents with not so high win rate. But then from the half of the games until the end, they meet players that in terms of ranking here, in terms of list, are higher than them, or are in the best 100 or in the best. So let's end this way. This person, let's go really down. This person in place 105 has played more than the half of the games. Then is going to pick opponents that most likely are either higher ranking than him or in the top 200, or even from one rank more. So from one rank more in terms of league, so not anymore in gold league, in legendary league or league 1. So the rank 19 in league 1. This can happen. So it gets really hard for the second half of the games. It gets really hard. Therefore, even sandbagging like this one, for example, this one is another one that is purposely losing to keep the win rate low. For the second half, even those that try to game the system have harder opponents. Nonetheless, for the first half, they do not have so hard opponents. Number one, and what I wanted to say is, what did I wanted to say? So for the first half, they do not have hard opponents. Instead, players like this one, or players with really high win rate, for example, this one, they have hard opponents from the start, because from the start they get players with roundabout this win rate, therefore players that really do not lose intentionally and really push to try to win. Because for my estimates, when someone has 60% or more win rate, is most always trying to win without like playing around. Therefore, it's a hard opponent. And the higher you get, the harder opponents you get. For example, this person can get a person like this. Instead, we unlikely get a player like this, an opponent like this. Therefore, if one ends in the tournament and the win rate is high, it's going to be really hard the entire time. Instead, if one sandbag it, the first half is relatively easy, let's say this way, and then it gets hard. And one can see that this approach of sandbagging is not so new, because 48, 55, 41, 44, 50, 43, 41, and so on. There are a lot. In Legendary Liga doesn't work anymore, because the gaps between ranks are so large that doesn't so sandbagging doesn't bring much anymore, because in this case this guy is this guy is sandbagging, okay, and may get someone that is sandbagging too or not, but rank 16, 17 or 18. 16, 17 or 18 have a lot of stars, but more or less there is a difference of like 2000 stars, and the same for even less difference in Silver League and Bronze League and so on. In Legendary League there could be a difference of, I don't know, 10,000 stars, so there could be so larger of a difference that a player sandbagging can be just destroyed, but a player not sandbagging with a similar win rate but with much more experience. No. So this much on tournament. So tournament is hard, and is harder if someone has 60% plus win rate. Even, for example, this guy is most likely also sandbagging, even if the win rate is not so low, because he already won a lot of medals, although with the IE, but here there is a medal for, no, it's also IE. Okay, but even this guy, for example, number 3 in a tournament with 64 is also unlikely, but in this case he is nonetheless getting less less easier opponents. In World War, of course, the 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 are hard, as long as the actual win rate is not so low. If an approach could be, I play tournament, as I said, I don't use much gold boost, therefore the win rate collapses, and then I played World War, and the opponents are a bit easier because my win rate collapses in an environment that is really hard, and therefore it doesn't reflect my real strength in an environment that is a bit easier, that is in World War. 50 minutes already. Yes, of course, this means if I'm really fit, I play tournament. If I'm a bit tired, I play World War. That still requires some effort. If I'm really tired like today, I do this speedrun challenge. So let me stop this rant about win rates and so on. Of course I have a wiki. I prefer a wiki to collect all this stuff because one can reference it, can read it every time. Instead a video is a bit less fruitful. It's a bit difficult to jump to this or that point in the video, but it's good for practice for speaking. Therefore I should try to expand the wiki instead of collect more videos, but I have to say that to talk is much easier than to write, because to write I have to, especially if there is already a lot of there are a lot of information in the wiki, I have to collect them, expand them, refactor them. This takes a bit more time. It's most likely like a tournament game. I have to concentrate, and therefore given my interest and priorities, I do not always have time to do a wiki. Instead of I can do a video even if I'm really tired, because it's easier. So let's stop this.